Does this not look like it's staged? Do this not sound like they could have scripted this? She wasn't trying to be a part of this. You can tell in some of the interviews. They tried to make it seem like that Craig and Michael would be pride and joy of their father's eyes. When in all actuality, Marian Robinson already mentioned in the earlier interview that I showed that Craig and Mr. Frazier wasn't even getting along. And they still wouldn't be getting along. And he would be in disagreement with how his son turned out to be. And I'm speaking about Michael LaVaughn Robinson.
Her original requests were just, don't make it anything fancy. Just have a few people, unfortunately, her only surviving sister died only a few months before she did.
That's right. These people are very nefarious. And they trying to ameliorate the world towards chaos. So we have to ameliorate the world with aspiration and inspirations to obtain greater things out this life. We ain't gonna do too much nor say too much. Ms. Robinson mentioned multiple times that she was worried about her son and Barry Sotoro. She was worried about Big Mike being in the spotlight.
Also the grave. This gonna be a classic.
All right, y'all. Now, there were some things that I really had to take note while watching this little podcast, whatever they got going between Big Mike and his brother. And there was a lot of things in that video that I found to be very off, that I found to be very different. And we're gonna talk about it because I feel as though these individuals don't seem to believe that the thing that they have done is gonna come back to, collect this debt. With that being said, these individuals, I feel like are talking in code. But if you know me, then you know I'm just stating my opinion, my personal opinion. And this is just my perspective. We ain't gonna do too much. Let's just jump right in. The YouTube struggle is for real though. It didn't start raining as your boy out here trying to get his little you dig on. It's okay. We finna head back to the little studio and continue the little you dig. What poppin', y'all? Thank y'all for tuning back into this video. My bad about the inconvenience, y'all, about the outside rain. Sometimes the universe has its own plan, but we ain't gonna even do too much. We ain't gonna complain about it. We just gonna work around it. As y'all can see, I'm back in the little studio. Lights, camera, action. It never stopped. It always began. With that, it's finna begin with us still talking about these vexatious people who think that they can get over on us with these stories that are seeming to change. We're gonna start it off like this. A wise man could play a fool, but a fool can never play a wise man. Y'all can't fool me with the trickery. I can tell that y'all was nervous. Y'all was messing up with y'all words. Y'all was forgetting y'all words. Y'all was stopping yourself from speaking or saying other things. Let's be clear. There wasn't a genuine reaction. Like, this wasn't a genuine conversation that these individuals was just having to the people. Their conversation was script. These individuals were speaking in what I would consider a double talk. But these are just my opinions. You know what I'm saying? Don't take what I say and run with it. Go do your own investor search. But now, let's get right into it. It's very interesting how Big Mike or Craig Robinson never really mentioned where did Marian Robinson estate go? Where did all her possessions and her belongings go? Who did it go to? Why didn't they mention that? And let's be clear. I was doing my background search, my own investor search on this Robinson family. And it seems to be that all the elderly adults have transcended. That's very interesting, yet oddly weird. Because it's like nobody from Marian's side is still alive to tell us the story of little old Mike, or y'all know the other person. But not only that, it's very interesting that they spoke upon how Miss Marian Robinson was planning her death. and the fact that she was worried that they'll be at her funeral for too long.
Her original requests were just, don't make it anything fancy. Just have a few people, unfortunately, her only surviving sister died only a few months before she did.
That's left very direct instructions on what she wanted and how she wanted things to be. And we had to take that into account when...
Yeah, take it into account, but I don't think Mom, that she would ever own who she really was, right?
No, she would not.
So,
like, that don't make sense. That kind of rubbed me actually the wrong way, because it made me feel as though even after this individual knew that she was going to have to give up her life, she still was worried about the thoughts and opinions of her son and her son.
When you've got somebody of note who means so much, right? And you lose them as a family, you are managing a process now, right? It becomes, okay, how do you create a memorial service that honors her, and she was very clear on what she did and didn't want.
Yeah, the listeners should know that Mom's been threatening to drop dead for 20 years.
So there was also, I won't call it the stress, but I was concerned about making sure that you, my brother, felt seen in our decisions to memorialize her, because it becomes a production.
Yeah. And while that was very nice of you, I felt very much a part of it. I thought, as we both know, Mom wanted it, like, I don't want an hour and a half memorial. I think she was worried about the time. She was worried about the amount of money we spent on it. And she wanted to make sure that family was going to be involved. And you made sure all of that took place. And it was a wonderful memorial service. It was a little longer than she would have liked.
Oh, for sure.
But she would have enjoyed it if she were there. Yeah, so that's what we talked about that.
Well, that was always how Mom was. Mom was like, I don't want to fuss. I don't want to go. I don't want to travel. She was, that was her beauty. She was our mom was content with who she was and where she was.
Let's also be clear. They kept mentioning how Miss Marian Robinson loved her place on Euclid Avenue and how she really never really wanted to come to the White House, but Craig had to convince or pretty much persuade his mom that to do it for Big Mike, to do it for the youngest son, Michael Levon Robinson. That was very interesting. That means what it sounded like to me is that this mom was in a form of imprisonment by her own kids. And I feel like she was, in my own opinion, forced to be a part of something that she really wanted no part of. They tried to make it seem like that she was going to be staying there for the kids. Mind you, these kids are not even connected to the family nor related, which she knew that. Marian Robinson knew that. So I don't think that the kids was the real reason that they had Miss Marian Robinson move to the White House. They did that because they had to keep an eye on her. They had to have her around at all times so they know, what is she doing? What is she saying? Who will ask her questions? Who will question the status of her son? They had to keep her around. They even tried to pay her off with over $150,000 a year just to babysit. Come on now, y'all. If that don't sound like bribery, if that don't sound like a form of extortion, if that don't sound like a form of blackmail, come on now. This don't look too good, but these are just my own thoughts and opinions.
Spent a lot of time managing everybody else's grief, and we really haven't talked much about our own grief. So I'm happy we're able to do this now.
Yeah. You put it well that you find yourself managing other people's grief.
Right.
And so Mom's view was, and that was our Aunt Gracie. She said, well, what Gracie had was lovely. You just had family and a few people speak, and and I'm just sitting there listening, going, Mom, there's no way There's no way we can get away with that.
What I found to be quite interesting was also the fact that they mentioned that the mom smoked a lot. They mentioned that the mom literally just sat around the house a lot. It felt as though they tried to tarnish or taint her name just a smidget. And y'all could let me know what y'all thoughts and opinions is, but I never knew, nor read, nor even heard of the mom smoking. So them telling us that their mom smoked, or even that she always sat out on the porch and ate fried rice, kind of gave you this vision of who she really was, or who she could have not been. Because we don't know the real reason why they mention that, especially if that's never been mentioned before. What's very interesting is that every picture that Marian Robinson took with her two sons, either Craig Robinson or Michael Levon Robinson, she always seemed at dis-ease. She always looked to have some type of discomfort amongst her face. She always looked scared to be in the presence of these two individuals. And it's very interesting that they mentioned multiple times that Mike literally had to persuade his mother to do certain things, even against her will. I feel as though if she didn't want to go to China, why does she have to be forced to go to China? Like they mentioned, she was already forced to be in the White House. Now y'all want to force her to go to a different country? Y'all want to force her in the same spotlight that she is not trying to be a part of? That don't seem like two genuine sons to me.
She would, just sort of reflexively say no to everything, throughout the whole 8 years in the White House. First of all, she didn't want to come.
She didn't want to come in the first place.
Yeah, she didn't want to move to the White House. Why would I want to live in the White House? I have a perfectly lovely house here on Euclid Avenue. So you fortunately were able to convince her that she wouldn't be moving for her, but she would be moving for her beloved granddaughters.
Yes.
And that finally sealed the deal. But then once she got there, she was like, I don't want Secret Service. I don't need this. I don't need that. I'm just going to be up in my suite of rooms. And we took a lot of trips over the years.
Right.
We did some amazing traveling. We went to visit the Queen, spent time at Buckingham Palace. We were on the Great Wall of China, just us, because the wall was closed off to everybody else. We had visits with two popes, one at the Vatican. We had a personal greet at the home of Nelson Mandela. That's when
I know my kids came.
Yeah, Avery and Leslie came on that because we tried to include them.
Yeah.
But we generally did our travel, or my solo travel without Barack with the girls. We tried to do it in the summer on breaks so that we weren't ever pulling the girls out of school for travel. So we always had some major trips planned. And we, of course, need mom to go, but it was always presented as a mom, do you want to go? Right. And if you asked her, do you want to go to China? Her response would be, why would I want to go to China? Or you already got me here at the White House. I don't need to go to China. So asking her what she wanted was never the approach. You had to tell her, Michelle needs you to go on this trip. The girls need you because while I was doing all my official stuff, the girls needed a chaperone to do their stuff. And then once she realized that she wasn't going to take this trip for her, that she was doing it for us, then she could accept it.
But I'm just giving y'all food for thought. These are just my own thoughts and opinions. What was also quite interesting that I don't know if y'all caught was the fact that Craig Robinson mentioned that the mom being around the grandkids added years to her life.
I maintain all of that. Her time at the White House, all the travel, having to care for the girls added years to her life because she was just sitting over on Euclid, on the porch, smoking cigarettes. And
because she had retired.
Like, she was in her 80s. She was still young. She still had life ahead of her. So how did being around kids that she knew for a fact wasn't her grandkids keeping her alive longer. That don't make sense to me. That don't sound right to me. It sounded like they were trying to say that if she had not decided to move to the White House to be a part of those kids' lives, that she probably would have gotten transcended a little earlier. Which could be the reason they mentioned to us that she always talked about leaving. She always talked because she knew that it was going to be a time where if she didn't agree with her two sons, that they were going to do the inevitable. 86 her, which I found even more interesting, especially after the fact that Big Mike even mentioned in this same interview that his mom had a lot of life left. She had a lot of life left. And let's not forget that they said that she wanted to go out peacefully. Come on now, y'all. Do this not look like it's staged? Do this not sound like they could have scripted this? She wasn't trying to be a part of this. You can tell in some of the interviews, they tried to make it seem like that Craig and Michael would be pride and joy of their father's eyes. When in all actuality, Marian Robinson already mentioned in the earlier interview that I showed that Craig and Mr. Frazier wasn't even getting along. And they still wouldn't be getting along. And he would be in disagreement with how his son turned out to be. And I'm speaking about Michael Levon Robinson. They also mentioned how this is the 33rd year of their father's transcendence. And we know what that number 33 means. I find it very ironic. Craig even tried to make it seem like he was devastated when Mr. Frazier transcended. He even tried to give it like a little fake, little sad face, but then a little smirk underneath it. When we know in fact that there could have been some in-house drama amongst the Robinson family. That these individuals really never always seen eye to eye. And not only that, did y'all catch that Big Mike stopped himself from saying, "I miss mom"? And he said the people miss mom. And they always talk as though they have to remind each other, our mom, our memory, our father. They talk in a different language other than brother and sister talk. And if you have a sister or a brother, then you know the brother and sister talk. Or brother and brother talk in this case. But something just don't seem right. This family is very ingenuous. These people are very nefarious. And they trying to ameliorate the world towards chaos. So we have to ameliorate the world with aspiration and inspirations to obtain greater things out this life. We ain't gonna do too much nor say too much. Ms. Robinson mentioned multiple times that she was worried about her son and Barry Sotoro. She was worried about Big Mike being in the spotlight. And that's what really caused this individual to be put up on the chopping block. Big Mike gave his mom up. And what was very interesting is Barry Sotoro's grandmother transcended at the same age, in the same way. We ain't even gonna do too much. We ain't even gonna say too much. This is part one. And I do believe that Big Mike had his mom silenced, AKA 86, just so he can obtain his leadership and his hierarchy amongst these elites. I do believe that this individual got rid of his father as well. I don't believe that this individual, Craig nor Mike, are genuine with their opinions and thoughts on their mom. I don't believe that neither one of these individuals actually care in a genuine way about the mom as they say they do. You can tell by their face, there is no type of sorrow, there is no sadness, there is no, joy from them even thinking about her, which should let you know something, which also should let you know, the relationship that they had was very rocky. We do know that Marian felt some type of way about Big Mike, and that it was very hard for her to disclose her feelings due to the fact that they kept her so close. And with that being said, you already understand. So that way, that part. And for those that's watching, understand that clear eyes always recognize real lies. We ain't got too much talking to do on this side. We understand that the Robinsons and the Sotoro family have a lot to explain, and that they too have been lying to the people and living a fictitious life that has been scripted.